If I wanted to say that I'm going somewhere in English, I'd just say, well, I'm going. But for the Lolavoli on the volcanic island of Ambai, it's not that simple. Located in the South Pacific nation of Vanuatu, Lolavoli is a Malayo-Polynesian language, spoken by just under 5,000 people. But don't be fooled. What this language lacks in popularity, it more than makes up for, with its highly precise grammar and levels of complexity out of this world. Due to the unique currents, volcanic slopes, and topography of the island, the Lolavoli have come up with different words for to go, depending on both their location and direction of travel. But how would such a system even function? And why go through all that hassle when you could just have one word for going? Ambai has 3 core verbs for to go: hage, vano, and hivo. But the meaning of each is highly dependent on context. Firstly, there's the verb hage, which can refer to movement either inland, uphill, or to countries other than Vanuatu. And its counterpart, hivo, is used to indicate movement towards the sea, or to Vanuatu from other countries. These words can also be used to indicate the direction of boat trips, as shown here, or of hikes around the island. Often added to these directional verbs were the following suffixes, encoding a whole additional layer of spatial complexity. With combinations like hivo mai, denoting a downhill or seaward motion in a direction towards the speaker, or hageatu for uphill movement towards the person being addressed. And it's not just the Lolavoli that do this. Across the world, indigenous languages have had to come up with solutions for navigation in a world before GPS. The Tuvans of the Tuvan Republic in Russia and Mongolia, traditionally nomads, live lives deeply intertwined with their environments. It's said that the Tuvans are able to keep track of the migration schedules and whereabouts of their almost 1,200 members, scattered across an area tens of thousands of square miles. But how does this relate to their language? Well, whilst the Lolavoli use the central axis as a point of reference, in Tuvan there are the verbs jogta to go upstream, bat to go downstream, and kes to go cross-stream. Since these topographically oriented path verbs are used more frequently than the verb meaning simply to go, speakers of Tuvan must constantly be aware of their position in relation to the river systems around them. This, in combination with the Tuvan practice of naming landscapes very literally, enables the Tuvans to be such great navigators. Similar systems also exist in languages like Tofa, Hanuwa'o, and Bantawa. In Tofa, there exists measurements like the Kush, how far one could ride in a day on a reindeer. Unlike many Western measurement systems, which measure time, the Kush functions as a measurement of both time and effort. The Hanuwa'o of the Philippines, traditionally agriculturalists, use single phrases to describe upstream movement towards the mountains and downstream movement towards the coast. This is in addition to the language's 6 wind directions, which allow them to detect seasonal weather patterns. In Bantawa, spoken by Sherpas in Nepal, people tend to think of maps in a vertical, almost cross-sectional plane, as opposed to the horizontal plane we're used to. whilst the Bedouins, the nomadic people of Jordan, who live primarily by herding sheep and goats, have verbs for meaning to go east and to go west, as they depend heavily on the eastern and western rains. As for Lollovoli, apart from the phonology, pronouns, and demonstratives, little has been documented about the language. And this is only part of a wider issue. Most of the world's languages are even less well researched, with only a mere Swadesh list to their names. An issue which needs to be addressed urgently. Anyway, that's all for this week. If you've enjoyed this episode, consider liking, subscribing, and don't forget to tune in for next week's episode.